Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the League of Europe. We are here for round number 8 around the circuit Paul Ricard, of course, the French track. My name is Jake. I'm taking you guys through this as always, and join alongside me, as always, Mr. QVR Verstappen. Yeah, how you doing this evening?
Hello everyone, indeed. Welcome to the second event of the sprint race round here in France, round 8 of the season. I'm doing quite well. Looking forward to it. Of course, we're going to get underway with a one-shot qualifying and then a 9-lap sprint, and then, of course, the 27 laps fully for the 50% race.
Yeah, so as of course, as just said, it is the second of 3 sprint races for the season. Of course, our first one being out in Circuit of the Americas earlier on this season. Our second one, of course, being around Circuit Paul Ricard, and our final one being around the Abu Dhabi circuit. It's the final round of the season, just to give it a little bit of a mix-up. In case you guys don't know about the point system for the sprint race, as we're just getting ready to load into one-shot qualifying now, the sprint race points from 1st to 10th all go down basically in reverse order from 10 to 1. So first gets 10th, second gets 9th, etc., etc., all the way down to 10th, who gets 1 point. There isn't I don't believe that there is a fastest lap point in the sprint race. Is there?
Yeah, there is. If you get top 10, obviously, then you get a fastest lap point as well. So that could be very valuable, and that makes the total amount of points being able to score it, if I'm not mistaken, 37. So there's a lot of points on offer for this race.
Certainly is. It certainly is indeed. What I'll do is I'll quickly just load you through the standings as well, just again whilst we are loading into this one-shot qualifying, just so you guys know who exactly is where within the standings. So, of course, from last week, with Killer picking up 6th position, and then the other 2 title rivals not really doing too hot last week. Creeko, I believe, didn't pick up any points, and Luke only picked up, I think it was 4 points last week. It moves QVR Killer into the lead of the standings, dead on 100 points, interestingly enough, with Luco 5HD in 2nd with 92, Creeko in 3rd with 88, Darry in 4th with 76, Rick in 5th with 75. Slash moves himself up into 6th after having a good recent form, up in the 6th with 66 points, triple six, a little bit of a devil. That's a bit interesting. Larkin is in 7th with 56 points. Ben JS is in 8th with 53. Nolan is in 9th with 34. Felipe, as you can see on your screen. And then RJ has somehow managed to slip his way into the top 10, only with 18 points, interestingly enough. So, yeah, it's looking a bit interesting within this title. Already I would say the top 9 are broken away. I'd say even the top 8 have all pretty much broken away from everybody else already, which is a bit of a sight to see. Again, very interesting that it's already been those that have pulled away, and we may even see some more of that today. I mean, you can see for the one-shot qualifying that it is dry, and of course, as I said, it's 37 points in total on offer if you're able to, of course, get the fastest lap win in both the sprint and the feature race as well. So, as I said, we're just loading up into the sprint race now, and for me, we are spectating Rex, so who would you want to sit on board with?
Rex actually has a quality ban, so that might not be the best idea. Let's sit on board with QVR Killer. So he's going through turn number 2, then out down towards turn number 3. Of course, 15 turns on this track. Let's see. So Rex has qualified himself in more games as well, so he has a collar ban as well. Going through with the McLaren here, down into turn 5, up down towards the sector 1 split. 22.5 is decent enough. And now we're going down on towards turn 6 and 7 and onto the long Mistral straight as he opens up the DRS.
Certainly does. So let's have a look and see what QVR Killer can do, making his way all the way up on 203, 4, 5 miles per hour as he gets towards the end of the straight, braking very nicely, coming in towards the chicane as well, coming towards the end of sector 2. Bunty has, I think, retired from the session as he may have cut a corner, so it has invalidated on his lap time as well, so he'll be starting towards the back end of the grid. Killer still in 3rd position at the moment, dropping down 2 places from the Germans of Darry and Creeko. See if this 3rd part of the lap, though, if he can try and capitalise on this one. Miami also very close behind as a reserve driver in that Alfa Romeo, I believe, replacing Timon or Licks. Both of them, for some reason, aren't here for tonight. Killer moves his way back up into the lead of this one-shot qualifying, and now he's only just got 2 more corners left to go. See if he can put it on pole position. Won't be his first pole. He did, of course, put it on pole in the Circuit of the Americas and then absolutely dominated that race. Is he going to be able to do it again? Killer is making his way up towards the line. Creeko, the other championship contender, jumped him, in fact, for that pole position. Creeko taking pole only just by about 0.04 of a second, and the other championship contender of Luke in fourth. So the top 3 in the championship already showing, well, they're 1, 2 and 4 at the moment. Derry, of course, the 4th in the championship, sitting in 3rd. Top 4, very, very tight and compact with each other.
Yeah, definitely the top 7 is actually the ones who have put in a competitive time. Will run you through the grid. Of course, Kriko starting on pole for the sprint, and then Killer in 2nd. Derry in 3rd, Luke in 4th, and RJ in 5th with Miami in 6th place. The Scream just 4,000 behind that. AJ1 just returning on his, returnee sort of debut. And then Evans in 9th, Marcia in 10th, Ben Jason in 11th, Brent in 12th, Larkin in 13th, and then we have a whole list of guys that didn't get a time in, either invalidated with more games, Rex, Resify, Slash, Rent, and Bunty, and IoT Rent also making his debut tonight.
Certainly are, and despite both of the Hasses having quali bans, they're starting probably a little bit higher up than what they were expecting within this grid. I think they're starting, 15th and 16th for tonight, so I suppose it's a bit of a bonus for them that a few of the other guys did end up invalidating on their lap times. So, yeah, both of the Hasses with those quali bans, as we said, hopefully, to be able to try and keep it a bit cleaner for the next time. But as everyone is just getting their strategies loaded up for this sprint race, as said, we've got the sprint race, and then we have got the 50% feature race. As a 9-lap sprint race. Hopefully, it will be relatively clean, as it has been through, I'd want to say as it has been through both divisions tonight. Your sprint race usually can be quite chaotic, so I won't be surprised if we see something similar to that for this sprint race as well. And you've got to assume that everyone is going for a set of the medium compound tyre. Let's just get a double confirmation with that. And yeah, everyone being boring, no one's going for a set of softs.
Yeah, no, everyone's on the yellow tire. Not too surprising as the softs barely make it. You really have to stretch out, and then the hards are just not quick enough for this. And in general, with the allocation, you get an extra set of mediums compared to a normal weekend as well. So it just all adds up to just using the medium tire. It just makes the most sense. So yeah, no surprises there. We'll have to see how this continues on. Of course, there's a few guys that are quite quick at the back, especially the Alpines with Resify and Slash. I think they should be able to get for the grid. So yeah, these one-shot qualities make it quite interesting as well. It just mixes up the grid a little bit.
Yeah, no, it certainly does. I'm surprised Larkin's so far down, but like where he is as well. I mean, a few guys that are quite up there, both for RJ and Miami in 5th and 6th. They had a pretty good qualifying themselves. So I wonder if they can try and keep where they are out on track. I think RJ, as of recent, has been having some pretty decent form. Just a bit unlucky with what happened last week out in Silverstone. I think spinning as we've got a restart for the safety cars. So where he's on for a podium. So hopefully RJ can try and get a bit more redemption from that from last week. Again, we shall await and see. But at the moment, as I said, Kriko is the one that is out on top. Killer's 2nd, Derry in 3rd, Luke in 4th in this sprint race. And again, it's not obviously going to... This is for the qualifying for the feature race. We'll see who comes where. Again, there is still points, of course, on offer for each of those. Yeah, I'll ask you very quickly. Do you reckon Kriko will be able to stay on that top step, or do you reckon Killer will be able to move his way through, or maybe even one of the 4 that's behind him, or 5 behind him, shall I say, with all those being within 3 temps? Those 5 could maybe try and make an impact on him.
I feel like Derry will go into the attack. I think just having a slight bit of a leeway to make up in the championship, he might feel pressured enough to go and try and attack to get to maximum points here. So I'm going to tip him for the sprint race win at least.
Fair enough. It doesn't really help that Killer does disqualify himself on the formation lap, so he will be starting a little bit further back from the preferred slot of where you should be starting on your grid spot. And for the sprint race, we are just about to get this one underway. Bunty has been disqualified, so yeah, we should be getting this one underway right about now. Those lights are now starting to appear for the first of 2 times for round number 8 around France. And it is lights out, and away they go for the sprint race. And as you were saying, Derry gets a very good start in comparison to those top 2. In fact, Derry might even try and go on the attack. Giller gets a very good start as well, but Derry definitely having the best start of the 3. Derry trying to hold it down the inside in towards turn number 1, doesn't manage to get so. Kriko losing out 3 spots already. Luke goes up ahead of him as well. Joshua Evans already up into 5th up ahead of Miami. Miami keeps that 6th position. RJ did not have a very good start. He's all the way down in 18th position. May have had a bit of a collision. Rex, Renz and Rezify all going toe-to-toe in the back. And same with with Larkin and Ben JS as well. Larkin comes out on top of that one. Ben has to concede that position. I think he did end up lagging out as well. So I did see that he has joined back. As there is a spinning Red Bull in the back. That is Marcio going around, coming on to the main DRS straight. Of course, we're not going to be DRS until lap number 3, but Marcio now going to be pretty much solidified to start at the back of the spread unless it's a safety car.
Evans is on the attack on Krico here, down towards the flathead turn number 10 here. Let's see if he can make that one stick. Both on the overtake. Evans just on the inside, might have the shorter route towards us. His contact, and Evans is into the wall and out of the session. I didn't quite see what happened, but there was sideways wheel-to-wheel contact, and just Evans was sent into the wall, and he's out of this sprint session. No safety cars come out. It can happen, but it hasn't happened. Krico seems unscathed and able to continue on.
Yeah, no, certainly is. So, yeah, Killer now after the first lap is the one that has taken the lead of this race. Darry in second, looking third. Krico in fourth after that little collision with Evans. Miami jumps this up to fifth because of that collision. That Scream as well up into sixth. AJ Wuhan on his return tonight, keeping it nice and calm in seventh position. Larkin moves his way up to eighth. Same with Ben JS in ninth. Slash moves up into 10th. Brent moves up one position in 11th. More Games has a very good start up into 12th already. Like I say, RJ not exactly having the best of starts, and as I say that, Rex does drop it out of the exit of turn number 2. So yeah, he's now basically also going to be solidified unless there's a safety car for starting towards the back end of the grid. Marcio has come in to fix his wing and chuck on, which I wouldn't have suggested a new set of soft compound tyre. You need those for the feature race, and they're now pretty much going to be dead for that. AJ Wuhan trying to go around the outside of that Scream in towards the chicane. That Scream gives him that space around the outside. Very nicely done from AJ Wuhan to get that move around the outside of that chicane. Very nicely done from Ferrari on his return as well. Now up into P6, he's got to try and get past that sister team of the Alfa Romeo up in front. Are we going to be able to see him get into that top 5, or is he going to maybe short out and not be able to get past Miami?
Have to see, does look quite strong as of right now, but he has also drained quite a bit of ERS, only 30% left, and we're only on lap 2 of 9, so he's gonna have to try and maintain that a little bit better. The two at the front have done that a little bit better. They're on 70%, so they are looking quite favourable to run here with a 1-2, Killer and Darry there. Luke is just hanging on with Krico and Miami, both kind of struggling to stay with the car ahead, not quite staying within that second. Krico is now. So Darry sets the the lap of the race with a 33.3, and of course the DRS will now be enabled as well. Let's look if anyone can try and make a move stuck in towards the chicane mostly, because that's the main opportunity here.
Yeah, no, it certainly is, and the one that's looking closest to go for an attack is Larkin on that Screen. That Screen dropping out of DRS as well. Both Mercedes really struggling to keep up with the car out in front of them, and that's really sort of showing. Miami as well, almost losing DRS out to Krico. Luckily, I think was still within that 1 second as he came past the line, so manages to get the DRS. Yeah, that Screen didn't get any DRS, so Larkin now on the ERS, on the DRS, straight past that Screen. Nice and easy for him, and now up into 7th position. Is that Screen though, after the chicane, going to attempt to go for a move as Ben JS already on lap number 3 picks up the first 3-second time penalty. Ben JS is using his ERS as well now. He wants to get his move done on that Screen. That Screen pushes him as far over to the right as possible. Both still side by side and wheel to wheel, and that Screen has to give that one up. He was on the outside. It was never going to work. If you're on that outside, it's very difficult to try and hold on to that position, and now drops down into 9th position as Rezify and More Games also going at it just behind him, coming through turn number 11 and now through turn 12. Rezify is being the one to watch out for, is according to TDB in the stream chat.
We'll have to see if he can do that. To see it goes down the inside there off the penultimate corner, gets himself a 3-second penalty as Slash gets past the Scream up ahead as well. I think Rezify is going to complete his move. We're only at the last corner and has the DRS to complete as well. Looking up ahead, we have Slash and the Scream still side by side down towards turn 1, but I think the Scream has to yield and favour their position to Slash, and Slash is up into P9 and provisionally P8 with Ben's penalty up ahead as well. And looking at the front, Darry's getting closer and closer to the McLaren of Killers. Renz is getting past More Games as well. Just in behind the track. But let's see, Dari is coming towards the back of QVR Killer. Let's see, can he get a move done down towards turn 8? He has his DRS on, so he's definitely going to go for it. Down the inside, should be easy done. Later on the brakes, and yeah, confirmed through there as we have a spinner in the background. Slash going through on Ben JS with Bunty round. The Scream and Brent is round as well. As the Scream and Brent, I think, were side by side in the midst to make some contact. More games getting a penalty. So a lot of chaos going on. Ben JS and Slash still side by side. Ben JS now back up ahead as more games is now spun as well in the exodus to chicane. So a lot of things going on there. Still side by side. It's on Miami and AJ Wuhan, and I think Recify is spun as well at the back. So a lot of chaos here. AJ Wuhan has completed the move on Miami for P5 and goes through there. Maybe he can hunt up towards the light of Kriko and such. Recify is round again and just loses more and more positions.
Yeah, very unfortunate for us. The Fire's having a pretty good battle as well. But yeah, a lot of going on in that background has allowed RJ to get himself back up into the top 12, interestingly enough. But yeah, I mean, it was a good battle between AJ Wuhan and Miami for that 5th position. Now, of course, AJ Wuhan out of DRS from those guys up in front. Kriko has just about managed to claw himself back into DRS of Luke. However, he's only on 15% ERS, so Kriko is really going to struggle if they do manage. If AJ Wuhan catches up, he's going to struggle to try and keep him behind if he loses touch with those top 3 again. At the moment, he's managing to stay with them. Brent has another spin at the back, coming out of turn number 2, and now here we go towards the front end of the field. Are we going to see any moves go down? It doesn't look as if anybody in that top 4 is quick enough. How about Miami and Larkin? They're both very close to the back of each other. Let's have a look and see. Are we going to see any moves go down? Ren's going for the move on that screen in towards the chicane. That scream's going to try and hold it down the inside, but gives up that position. Has to yield in the end. I don't know if that scream's got any damage because he hasn't made up any positions. He just seems to be dropping constantly. Hopefully he doesn't have any damage, but I don't know what is going on with him. He has just been, I haven't seen him make a position. I've only seen him lose positions, interestingly enough.
There's a good chance he might have damage, and that might be actually favourable for him, because if his pace is like this, then this is not a very good sign for the actual race. We'll have to see about that. Yeah, he seems to be struggling quite a bit down into P11, even with all the spinners in behind as well. So, yeah, not ideal for the German there. Going on to lap 6 of the sprint, and RJ is the next one, banging on the door of the Mercedes in behind, and let's see if he can get the move done down towards turn 1. ERS is open, DRS is open, but the Scream has it as well. He's not giving up easily and holds on to P11 for now.
Yeah, no, he certainly has to, but I don't think it's going to be very easy pickings for that Scream to hold on that P11 come towards the end of this the next DRS straight. You can already see Renz is just starting to get away ever so slightly more in comparison to that Mercedes. Just going to stick on board with RJ as they're making their way through, or sorry, coming onto the DRS straight now as well. Ben JS, I think, managed to only just claw that DRS onto the back of Larkin as well, so he's going to be able to hold on that position up ahead of Slash. So here we go, RJ still onto the back of that Scream. That Scream, I think he's going to use a little bit of his ERS to just keep up to the back of Renz, so not going to be any move go down in towards the end of the in towards the beginning of the chicane. So yeah, everyone's just holding position at the moment. It's just who gets the better exit. If you can get a good exit out of here, then you can certainly set up a move coming through the fast right-hander of turn number 10. But it looks like that Scream was the one that had the better of the exits, so does manage to stay up ahead of RJ for now. I mean, there's a lot of battles going on around the board as well. There's RJ almost going straight into the back of that Scream as well for that P11 spot, and that Scream almost sort of running into the back of Renz. I think that's why he had to back off ever so slightly. But yeah, those leaders are getting so much closer to each other now, and again, Kriko's starting to lose touch from those leaders. AJ Wuhan starting to catch up to the back of Kriko as well.
Yeah, AJ Wuhan seems to have very good pace, and I think we want to watch out for in the full race then. Skiller's getting very close to the back of Dari, and there might be a move on board down towards turn 8, I reckon. So we'll have to check at that point. No battles in behind for now, so good to catch on board there. It's important you get a good exit out of turn 6 here, because you can lose quite a bit if you don't maximize it completely. But Killer does seem to get it, and I think with the ERS he has, he wants to get past though, but he's not that close. He's not seeming very eager to get past just yet, so he might just stick him behind us. Bunty at the back is retired from the session out of turn 2. Meanwhile, Larkin and Miami are going side by side. Larkin goes through in the Alfa Romeo. is up into P6 and has AJ Wuhan right ahead of him. Dari's still holding on to the lead ahead of Killer, as AJ Wuhan is actually round out of the chicane, out of turn 9, and he's trying to get back on and hopefully get somewhere, but he's down into P12. And yeah, not looking very favourable him, and that promotes Larkin into P5, and that becomes now a battle with Miami for that position, as Ben JS is a bit too far behind and has a penalty as well, so probably be between them for P5.
Yeah, no, certainly will be. And I know these two were sitting in a party. I was with them just before we started the stream as well. And yeah, I know these two are definitely sitting in a party, just goading on each other. So I'm quite intrigued on this battle. Who's going to come out on top? Of course, we are only going to have 2 more laps left to go. Killer so close now to the back of Dari. Don't think we're going to see a move go down in towards turn 1. As yeah, Killer had to back off of that one in the end. Kriko once again almost losing touch from those top 3 as well. Larkin is now going to have to try and hold back a charge in Miami, and we'll see if Miami's going to be able to get any sort of move done. RJ now finally gets past that scream, as that scream runs slightly into the back of the Williams as well. I don't think that scream would have picked himself up any wing damage, but from that screen's point of view, you will be able to see that red flashing light on the back of the Williams. So I think the scream's going to try and set up a move to go for in towards the chicane as well. Let's have a look. Killer, is he going to be close enough to getting a move done onto Dari? Coming up in towards the chicane. No, he is not. So Dari will continue to lead in this sprint race, and I believe we may see a move go down in towards the final lap, but we need Killer. He's got 80% of that ERS to use. In fact, yeah, he's trying to do what he can to try and close back up to Dari. I don't think he's going to go for a move, however, but I think he is just going to have to wait behind for now. Yeah, definitely will be on the next lap. I think that McLaren is definitely setting up a move. He just needs to get that little bit closer, which he was doing, just so he can go for this move. But yeah, very nicely done for Dari, just to hold up into the lead of this race. However, he's got it all to play for now. He's got the ERS to try and hold up in front of him. He's just got to hope that Killer does make a slight mistake.
Just caught on with AJ Wuhan, who's gone down the inside of RJ, now on the outside for turn 12. Still side by side they go. We need to call back onto the lead, I think, because Killer is looking like he might go for a move down to turn 1. No, he isn't. Yeah, he's second in behind, so nothing going on there. He's going to leave it for the 1 or maybe 2 last chances down the long straight and the chicane in between. He has a few opportunities there. Behind, I think AJ Wuhan did get past RJ. No move there, and now it's important for Killer to set up a move onto Dari down towards turn A, because that's going to be the prime move, taking opportunity with the DRS as well. And let's see, 50% for Dari still to defend with. Killer on 70%. They're going to throw it all out. DRS is open for the McLaren. See, can he get this one stuck? It doesn't look like he's going to be close enough to make a move. Maybe he is. DRS is now open. Down the inside goes Killer. Not quite. Has to back out of it. Dari goes very deep into the corner. Let's see if Killer can maybe do something down towards turn number 11. ERS is on once again for both of them. I don't think he's close enough. I think Dari's played this very well and is looking like he's going to hold on down towards turn 11 and take this sprint victory. Yeah, I don't see Killer getting through here, just following through for turn 11. I don't see any opportunity unless you want to do it in the last corner, which is very risky for definitely a sprint race. But you never know what he's thinking. Killer's looking. ERS is on. Maybe he'll try it. Dari is D-rating. Let's see, he's looking for the outside of the penultimate. Maybe down the inside of the last corner. He sent it. Not quite. Dari holds on. Now on the exit, maybe he can do it. DRS is still on there. Maybe he can get alongside, but I don't think he's close enough. I think Dari's just about going to take this one ahead of Killer. Luke is going to finish P3. Kriko in 4th. With Larkin in 5th and Miami 6th. Benji 7th on track, was going to drop down a position to Slash in 7th. And then Benji is in 8th. Rens is going to be in 9th with the Scream in 10th, picking up the last point here. And just to check who got the fastest lap as well. That'd be Marcia, so no one gets actually any points for that. But yeah, AJ Wuhan in 11th, RJ 12th, Rex in 13th, and Brent rectify more games, and we're just waiting on Marcio. And then obviously the 2 Astons who DNF'd.
Yeah, very unfortunate for both of them, but for Killer, you got to think, I think it was a lap too late that he left that one. He definitely could have gone for it on that second to last lap and had the opportunity to try and do what Dari did, try and defend with that ERS that you can utilise, and unfortunately for Killer, it just didn't play out that way. As I said, he tried it on the final lap, which to be fair, it can work, however, it's a massive risk, and yeah, unfortunately risk did not pay off in the end for the McLaren. Darry will start on pole for the feature race. Killer will start in second. Luke will end up starting in third in the end. Creeko in fourth. Larkin in fifth. Miami in sixth. Slash in seventh. Ben JS in eighth. Renz on his debut in ninth. Dash Scream rounding out the top 10, as you say. And as I said, top 10 all get points. So all 10 of them will get points on the board. AJ Wuhan and RJ will start on the 6th row of the grid in 11th and 12th. Rex in 13th. Brent in 14th. And then as I scroll down a little bit further, we see Rezify in 15th, More Games in 16th, Marcio in 17th, and then of course two Aston Martins who crashed out in this race will be starting at the very back of the grid. So we'll see how that they can fare on. But yeah, I mean, it was a good sprint race overall. Again, I know it was just sort of packed with trains, but a lot of overtaking opportunities. And well, with there being 29 laps in comparison to just the 9 laps, I'm sure we'll see a lot more go down as we get into this feature race.
Yeah, of course, 27 laps for the actual race. We'll have to see if especially Darry and Killer can maintain their good pace so far. And I want to see what AJ Ruan can do as well, because he seemed very, very quick. Even after a spin, he managed to get back up ahead of RJ and almost ahead of the Scream. I don't know if he actually got it in the end. I don't think he did. Got a PL11. But yeah, he's one to look out for, to still make some positions. Same with Slash. He got up to P7. So there's definitely a few drives to watch out for. Now normally you go for a medium hard or a hard medium here. See if there's an outlier with soft. I highly doubt it, but you never know. Maybe someone who tries something else for a change. We also don't really know the weather either, as far as I know. So there may be some play into that as well, but it looks sunny for now.
Yeah, no, it certainly does. And I think it's looking like it is going to be a dry race. As I said, we haven't been told otherwise that it won't be. It's looking like in the Mercedes garage they're going for a set of the medium compounded tyres, so I'm quite intrigued on who or what the rest of them are going for. But is that going to be Creeko or is that Dash Scream going for those medium tyres? We shall, of course, wait and see. I can see Darry on a set of the mediums, and I can see the 3 behind him on a set of the hard tyres, so of course they'll have the advantage come towards the end of the race. However, if there's an early safety car which will benefit the medium runners, then it will put those hard runners in danger, and Darry will have a very good opportunity of taking the win of this race. Again, anything can happen. Hindsight, as we say, is a beautiful thing. Both Miami and Slash have been disqualified from the session, so I wonder if they just had a slight little coming together off of the start line from that. But yeah, bit interesting to say the least. But just having a look at each of everybody's tyres, only 2 people have opted for a set of the mediums, and that is Darry and that is Ben JS. So Ben JS on a set of the medium compounded tyre, and I'm sure he's absolutely licking his lips because the 2 in front of him have just been disqualified, so they'll start on very cold tyres.
Yeah, I think definitely he'll want to get through the field as much as he can, Ben does, and obviously Darry is just aiming to get away and try and get a gap to all the rest of the hard runners, including Killer and Luke and Creeko. And yeah, Ben JS is just going to go onto the attack for at least the first 7-8 laps, where the mediums will be the better tyre. So I have to see if the Williams driver can pull something off here and get himself amongst the front end, and maybe hold on later in the race. But it won't certainly be easy. We'll have to see if he can do it.
Certainly will. We certainly will. So yeah, I will ask you again here. Of course, we've seen what just happened in the sprint race. Do you reckon Darry's going to be able to pull this off again and take the win? Do you reckon Killer can do it? Or do you reckon someone else in the field? Again, I know from what we looks like, we may have to keep our eye out for AJ Wuhan, because he is looking very quick within here. But anybody in particular that you think could probably just come out of nowhere and take a surprise result?
I'm not really seeing anyone. I think Evans obviously could be up there. Could make his way for the field, because obviously he was right up there in the top 5 before he crashed out in the sprint, so he will definitely go for the field. But I think Darry's looking favourable to take this. His pace looked quite good. If anyone's holding off, I think it's Killer, so it'll be between these 2.
Certainly looks like it as well. Can't count out Luke though. We've seen what he can do in a race before. I'm sure there are definitely spots of him that he can do it again for today as well. But everyone just lined up on the grid. Larkin also disqualifies himself from the formation lap. So again, Ben JS is definitely going to be licking his lips at all of this that's going on. And we shall wait for these 5 red lights for the second time to make their way on. So let's have a look and see how and who is going to get the better start of all of them. The lights are out and away they go for the second time for tonight. And Darry once again getting a very good start in comparison to everybody else. Luke, unfortunately, dropping the position to Krico. Krico this time actually getting a better start. Larkin as well, having a very nice start. They're free wide going in towards turn number 1. Luke has to back out at that one, although still going to hold it side by side with Krico. Rezafite already out of the session. That Scream drops back as well, and so does Miami. I wonder if there's contact between all of those guys. Brent drops down as well, and there is a virtual safety car that has come out already on lap number 1. Darry, though, what a start for the German. It just absolutely blitzed it. Already 1 second out in front of Killer.
Yeah, absolutely insane start, and I'm curious what went on there. I was on board with Ben JS, and all of a sudden I see a car on his right hand side. Like, he was on the inside of turn 1, and I see a car on the right hand side of him just completely be spun round. So I don't exactly know what happened. It might have been the Scream or Miami, because they are towards the back as they were quite higher up earlier. Yeah, quite a hectic opening stage. But yeah, Darry, as you said, what a start he got. He just jumped, launched off the line. His mediums helped as well, and he's under VSC conditions 1.6 clear, so he will definitely be very happy with that one. And he's just, yeah, making his way on towards possibly victory if he can make the strategy work. As the green flag racing is going on the way now, as we see the actual gaps coming into play, as AJ Wu has gone past Renz. Renz is fun actually, and he is down into P11 now after he had a pretty decent start. But yeah, Darry has the second gap, and it'll be very difficult for Killer to maintain a stick with him for now. And I think Darry is looking very favourable here. Benjes is now down the inside, I think down the outside, no, inside of Slash. Both Bouclars do apologise. Darry's still to follow the lap of the race, of course. Benjes getting through on Slash. I think Slash is just going to yield that position for now. Benjes up into sixth there. And he has another 4 hard runs ahead of him before he's got up into P2, where Darry is obviously. A few cars in the pits as well with damage. AJ Wuhan is looking for a move on Slash down the end of the turn 3. Whew, very close, but not quite pulling that one off, and he has to back out of that one.
Definitely not a move that you want to be trying to pull off, that is for certain. But yeah, I was just quickly scrolling through each of the cars, like whilst we was under that virtual safety car. I could see Marcio Evans had no front wing whatsoever. I could see Brent had a bit of front wing damage. Sorry, I'm not too sure if I didn't see any damage on Miami's car, although he has pits, so you got to assume that he did have some sort of damage on his car as well. That Scream, interestingly, hasn't pit, so I wonder if he did pick up any damage, if he has gotten away unscathed, but is just starting to drop back from the rest of those guys out in front. Don't know. Again, we'll wait and see. Maybe it might just be a better opportunity for him just to try and pick up a point at least by staying out if he has got a little bit of damage, and just hope that a few other cars behind end up dropping it. Evans just getting past Miami as well. I think Miami actually had a bit of a half spin because it's about 1.3 seconds up in front of the Aston Martin driver, but he's now dropped back behind him. So I think Miami must have had some sort of mistake as he was making the exit out on towards the Diablo straight of turn number 7. Ben JS very close to the back of Larkin and trying to send it up the inside in towards the final corner. Ben, that was a very audacious move, and I know you've been doing very well as of recent, but that is not a move that you want to be trying to make, especially on lap number 3. Dalras is now, of course, going to be enabled on this lap, and well, those top 3, it's a bit of a common theme of what we're seeing within these races nowadays for Division 2 for some reason. It always seems to be top 3 to the top 5 always seem to have about a second gap between each other, and then the rest are just all within like a DRS train of each other. Killer is the one that is 1.2 seconds behind Darry. Luke is 1.5 seconds behind Killer, and then Luke is just dragging this entire train from all the way down into 8th position, or AJ Wuhan at the back of that, to try and get any sort of move done as they possibly can. Krico, I don't think is going to be anywhere close to getting a move done on Luke, so at the moment I think they're all just going to be running it in like a single file order, looking, yeah, so there's just very single file between everybody else so far. Dennis Rex about 1.6 seconds behind. Very good start for the American. I think started down in 13th or 12th, now up into 9th position, as that is Brent at the end of this lap, at turn number 2 once again. The Dutchman really struggling at turn number 2, that is for certain. More games leading in the train from 10th all the way down into 14th position. Both of the Hasses had a very good start, and now one Haas, it's just, you know, just having a nice little Sunday drive. The other Haas definitely needs to try and keep an eye out behind him.
Yeah, definitely needs to. So Miami pitted again. I think he might have meant to change the front wing, but didn't in the end, and that's why he might have lost so much time in so little space. He's gone back into the hard and was almost last as Ben JS, I think, is round. Might have had a moment for the penultimate corner. He's down into P9 behind Rex now. He's going to try and get back past pretty quickly, I reckon, but not this time out. But yeah, that's an unfortunate escape for his race because he was doing quite well, but may have gone a bit too aggressive and yeah, has paid the price for it as well. Gets another moment of oversteer through turn number 2, so his tyres won't be liking the love scrubbing that he's doing right now.
Yeah, and he's one of the only other ones on those mediums. Of course, Dari was the other one that started on those medium compounded tyre as well. So Ben really needs to try and do something. Him being down in P9, when everybody else in front will have to, and behind, will have to pit for a set of mediums, he will be on a set of the hards for the end of this race. So Ben is really at a massive disadvantage. He gets the move done on Rex anyway, coming down in towards the chicane. So that's at least a positive side for it. And now he's got to try and catch up. Well, no, he gets hit in the back by Rex. And hopefully didn't get himself any rear wing damage. I don't think Rex picked up any front wing damage because I didn't see any end plate fly off. But it could be the case he may have picked up some sort of front wing damage as Renz at the exit of the chicane has a spin. And in fact, oversteer moment as he tries to get on the tries to get on the power, and he's now out of the race, and that's caused the full course safety car.
That's very peculiar. He just went on the throttle and just lost it again. That's kind of weird. But yeah, safety cars come out. I said Dari's gone into the pits. The hards can make it from here. Whether it's going to be quicker, I mean, with the pit stop time being quite big here, the pit lane is very slow. It might be a decent idea. Ben Jess is going in as well as Rex, who might have damage potentially from that contact with Ben Jess as well. So not too sure, but yeah, the hards can make it from here, and I think that might have played out into Dari's favour.
I did say that if there was an early safety car, then that could definitely benefit Dari for sure, and it definitely has. The same with Ben JS. Both of those guys will now not, well, as far as we're concerned, will not have to make a final stop. That is their one and only stop done. That's them done until until the end of the race, unless there's of course another safety car, in which case it would probably be beneficial for them to make a pit stop. But now it's going to mean that QBR Killer is going to be our race leader, and yeah, even the guys at the back, they are going to be benefited by all of that as well.
Benefiting a lot. Yeah, because Evans obviously he's going to go to the hards. He's a quick guy. He could keep up with these two, I reckon. So with Marshall, I have to see. He tends to spin a little bit more, but yeah, it's definitely going to be beneficial if they can cut out the pit stop. If there's no more safety cars, definitely going to help these guys a lot and see where they get out. Rex went to mediums, and didn't know if he's going to stay with those tires or that he's going to try and pit back into the hards, but he did start on them, so they'll be a bit used, so might not be too ideal, and just hope for another safety car later on. But this does promote Killer into the lead of the race, with now having the rest of the train now called back up, which will be unfortunate for him because he obviously was a bit clear of the rest of the hard runners.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, as I said, the common theme of what we've been seeing. Killer was ahead of Luke by quite a bit. Luke was in ahead of everybody else by quite a bit. Bunty spinning under the safety car.
Huh.
Don't know how he's done that.
You know what? That requires a certain amount of talent, I reckon, and he's just shown his off right there. Losing a few positions in the meantime as well. And that just gets another car for Dari and Ben JS out of the way. So they'll not be complaining about that one, I reckon. But yeah, he's down into 13th now.
Yeah, no, I suppose that does benefit those guys of Dari and Ben JS as well. Rex has gone on the first set of the medium compounded tyre. Again, I know it's a bit too early, but I mean, I suppose he could try and go for a set of the softs for the end of this race, and it just means he has put himself at a bit more of a disadvantage. But if he did have damage, then I suppose it was more beneficial than anything for the American to make that pit stop. So yeah, I mean, obviously going on the set of the medium compounded tyre, he's now got to try and do the job of what Dari and Ben JS were doing within the start of this race, as try and make his way through the field to try and get as much benefit from these mediums, especially if those hard runners at the front haven't made a stop yet. He's basically fighting with the rest of those hard runners. He's not fighting those two in front of him, so he needs to try and get past them ASAP to try and fight with the rest of those hard runners, to then go for a set of the softs at the end of this race if he can pull that off, which I'm sure they can, because I know the mediums can go about, I want to say 13-14 laps before they do start to really deter. So I'm sure he can do that. Pull off, put a set of the softs on at the end, and then he can go. He can just go from there. Rex, I think, is one we'll need to look out for sure for the end of this race.
Yeah, definitely. So if there's another safety car, say around that lap 20, where he'll probably pit around and maybe start on a set of softs, so safety car will be in this lap. He might be able to, you know, if he's able to make positions on these mediums right now, he'll be right in the race for it, and just for the win maybe even. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves. We're only on lap 6, so we'll have to see how this falls on. And yeah, Killer will be leading the restart. And usually, you go quite late here. I think towards the penultimate corner or out of the final corner is where you want to go. But let's see, maybe Killer surprises us and does something strange and tries to maybe take a bit of advantage of Luke maybe not expecting it. But we'll have to see about that.
Yeah, so let's see. Is Killer going to be able to drop Luke? Is Luke going to be able to read when Killer goes? Safety car is now in the pits. Killer has gone before the second to last corner. Luke hasn't really been caught napping. Creco has read that beautifully on that AlphaTauri. And in fact, yeah, as I was saying, Luke has actually been caught napping by quite a bit, as well as a few of the other cars as well, just behind AJ Wuhan and more games. Or the other ones that have been caught napping, as well as RJ, because he's now under pressure from that screen in ninth. That screen, after being down in last at one point at the start of this race, he's now already back up into ninth position and having a bit of a scrap with AJ. A bit of a scrap with RJ as more games. That's a bit of a moment coming out of turn number 2. Darry's now going to try and go around the outside of his German counterpart to get this move done. He's not going to be able to do it. It's a Mercedes versus Red Bull versus Williams, and RJ is going to hold on to that position up ahead of him. Is really not going to benefit Darry in any way, shape or form. Darry needs to get these moves done ASAP. Of course, they're not going to make it easy for him. Bunty, more games than Evans, all battling it out as well as they make their way on towards the main straight now. RJ already 2 seconds behind those guys up in front, and they're going to go 3 wide in towards the chicane. Darry's going to be on the outside. That scream in the middle. That scream's going to hover on the inside now towards the chicane. Darry's going to still try and go for a move on the inside of the chicane. Not going to be able to get it done. That scream, give yourself a pat on the back. What a move that was from you.
Here it comes.
Just very, very brave. But Darry now going to go for this move down in towards the inside, in towards turn number 11. Gets the move done. Both of the Williams as well. Trade positions. Ben now up into 9th. And RJ down into 10th. Darry needed to get that done, and especially it helped him that he's now put a car between him and that screen.
Ben sent one on the inside of turn 11, getting a little bit too greedy, and just, yeah, collides a little bit with Rex there on the apex of 12 as well. Has to cut a corner and drops back even more positions now behind more games than Bunty. And yeah, you just got to pace himself a little bit, because otherwise you just end up in the wrong positions at the wrong time. As he sends one on more games as well there. He gets up into B12, more games now, dropping more positions down into 14th. And Darius, the one who's done this quite well, I reckon.
Yeah, he's managed to get himself at the front of the group that were all sort of falling behind. Killer already now 1 second up ahead of Luke again after this safety car restart. So Killer's pace has definitely not dropped off whatsoever. And Luke also almost dropping Creco out of that. Creco almost dropping Larkin as well. So again, we're going to see that theme with those top 5. Once again, they're all going to drop each other almost out of PRS for a second time in this race. But Ben JS, I know it. You know, he wanted to try and keep up with Darry, but it was well too hot-headed, especially in that final corner. Just pretty much pushed more games off the track. So I wouldn't be surprised if there'll be a Stewards report coming regarding that. Or saying that in the background as well, Brenton will look iron up a move on the Irishman for that 14th position. Of course, not any points on offer with these guys as Ben JS, as I was saying, now getting too hot-headed. He's definitely gotten hot-headed now, because he's now down at the very back of the field. Miami and Evans going at it, as well as Brent and Morgan still up in front. Brent's going to have the outside in towards turn number 12. Is he going to get the move done? He's going to have the outside, gets shoved off by More Games as well. More Games gets that position, very hard defending, but here we go. Brent trying to go around the outside, a little bit of contact between the pair of them, but Brent, what a move that was, to say the least, and gets the move done now up into 13th position. Very well coordinated from the Dutchman, and manages to get that position in the end. And now, of course, it's got the charge in Evans and Miami behind him, so we'll see if they're going to be able to get past those two ASAP. But DRS is now going to be enabled, and like I said, The top three already breaking the second out of each other. I was saying that Luke has managed to pull himself back into DRS ever so slightly of Killer. He's just got to try and hope within these next couple of corners he can do that. And as I say that, he already drops back out of it.
Then drops back in, so he's really trying to play with it. And if you look at the ERS of both of the top two, they've been really playing with each other and trying to get one another out of the DRS. And the same goes for Krika a little bit, and Larkin as well. They're not very high on ERS, and I think that's where someone like Slash could definitely come in later in the race, where he still has 70%, and that is definitely something to look out for, especially in regards to Larkin and Krika are just up ahead for maybe a podium position for the Englishman, so maybe he can get up there. You obviously IRT Rex is caught up to the back of the Merc of the screen. Maybe down to turn 11 he might be able to go for a move, but I think he's just about too far away. As Evans gets past on more games in turn 10. No fight there really. Evans just kind of plays on pause with a little bit of ERS usage there. He's up to P14 trying to make his way through the field. Rex is still stuck behind the screen. We'll have to wait maybe down towards turn 1 to make a move.
Yeah, Rex has not made up the positions that I thought he would on that safety car restart. He needs to try and get something done, does the American. So he maybe down, as you say, in towards turn 1 year, he could get this move done. Let's have a look. DRS is wide open for him. More games than Miami going at it in that final corner as well. Miami, I think, trying to go a bit in, or go a bit aggressive in that final corner, not able to put it off on the Irishman, and stays down in 15th and 16th respectively for the both of them. Of course, as we say, the rest of those guys up in front all have to make a second stop. Miami isn't actually in technically a bad position, and neither is Ben JS. Despite him having that spin at the exit of the chicane, he's still not in a bad position whatsoever. He will still come out at least in front of everybody else on the grid, other than Darry, of course, who's made that pit stop. But he will still come out in front of everybody else of those guys. Marcio, Brent and Evans are all still ones that need to make that pit stop, as well as Rex we're seeing now getting the move done on that screen in towards the chicane. So that's a move done for him at the very least. And I think Luke may have made a little slight mistake as well, because now Greco back within DRS of the AlphaTauri and dropping out of 1 second from QER Killer as well. So I wonder if he's picked himself up or if has made a mistake on his end. But yeah, those guys in 12th down in towards 14th, you know, they're not necessarily in a bad position, and neither is Miami. They all potentially don't even need to make another pit stop. They've just got to manage their tyres as best as they can to be able to get these to the end. And with this battling that Miami's doing with more games, it's not going to help these tyres get to the end. However, he has now gotten that position done on the Haas driver, so now he needs to try and go. And as I say that, he has a spin out of the probably one of the harder turns on the circuit. He now drops down into last position. Yeah,
so saying the guys from 12th to 14th, I think, yeah, we're very close what they can make in the tires and all. It just maybe depends on your setup or your driving style a little bit as well, and maybe a little bit of luck as well with the tires not popping possibly, but I have to see that later in the race. But it does mean that someone like Dari is definitely in a good position. I mean, at this point, if there's no other safety car, you basically can't see anyone challenge them. Who is being challenged now is Larkin, and slashes onto the back of him. Let's see if there's going to be a move down into turn 8. It looks to be holding off for now. Very interesting as the screen gets past Rex on the straight. Can that slash still? Maybe down towards turn 10, turn 11. That's where it might go for the move, and I think that's the case. Not quite either. He's just not willing to maybe go through and use his ERS for now. I think that's where yeah, he can still get an advantage, as I was saying, because the guys at the front are now basically all D rating, and Slash is still on that 65-70% of ERS, so definitely want to look out for AJ. We're not in a bad position either. Still some decent ERS and looking to have pretty good pace as well, so as one that could challenge maybe as well for a good, maybe a podium position. We'll have to see about that as the race develops further on. The Slash is now using a bit of that ERS. I don't think then to turn 1 he'll be close enough. Just going to stick him behind for now, but he does see that Larkin is now D-rating, and I think he'll be eager to get through very soon.
Certainly will. However, Larkin is just managed to get himself back into DRS of Kriko. They're saying that it is literally borderline in that DRS zone of the Mercedes out in front, and Slashes now you can see starting to push that a bit more to the point where he's now making some more mistakes as well. AJ Wuhan could look to try and pounce on Alpine if he makes a certain mistake. Marcio picking up the 3-second time penalty, or the first 3-second time penalty, shall I say, in the feature race. Larkin did manage to pick up DRS in the end to Krico, so Slash had an opportunity on the last lap. Unfortunately, it's now gone, and he needs to try and do this the hard way now, of course using a bit more of his ERS. However, Larkin can try and gain some more ERS just by sitting behind those two up in front. I don't know, we'll see how it's going to go down. Krico not losing touch whatsoever with Luke, whereas Luke really is struggling on these hard compounder tyre. And we'll start to see our first sort of pit stop soon as well. Lap number 13 to lap number 15, or lap 16 shall I say. I think we will see all of these hard runners make their way in. I would assume it would be one lap and then another lap for the rest of the guys that didn't make their pit stop, but it's whoever's going to pull that trigger first, I think could it will make a massive impact on what the rest of the field will end up doing. It's just who's going to be the one to pull that and go for that gamble as well. Like I said, lap 13 is definitely the minimum that you can do from there. We'll just see if anybody is going to be able to go, if anyone will come in from lap 13 or if they'll go any further on. Of course, we are on lap 13 of 27, almost halfway into the race. QVR Killer out in the lead at the moment. However, Dari has pulled himself back up into the DRS, and he doesn't necessarily need to make another pit stop within this race. He has done that mandatory pit stop that he is due, as well as him being able to, well, he made a pit stop under the safety car, started on a set of mediums, and it's looking like it is paying off massively for him. Unless another safety car comes out around now, I think Dari is definitely within a shout of winning this race today.
Yeah, I honestly, if he can make those tyres last, I don't think there'll be even any challenge at this point. Because, yeah, of course, these guys all have basically a pit stop disadvantage to him, and he's just chilling there on a decent battery. Can probably conserve his tyres a bit if he wants to. And yeah, something weird has to happen for him to not win this, I reckon, but you never know. There might be a safety car in the next couple of laps and then it brings it all back together, and you never know what's going to happen at that point. But we might see someone coming into the pits this lap, especially if they feel like someone like Luke currently is holding them up, because obviously Luke doesn't have much ERS, but he's actually the one looking to go into the pits, and he is, as he gets a 5 seconds penalty for speeding in the pit lane, just got a bit too quick in, and yeah, just overshot a little bit, so that is going to ruin any sort of chance he had, maybe a beating Killer, I reckon, and that's very unfortunate to see for him.
Yeah, no, it certainly is. I think Killer is looking like he could be on for a solid, at least third position. I think BenJS could still have that advantage of finishing in second, but at the moment it's looking like he's dropped back quite a bit. I wonder if he's made another mistake, because he is quite far away from Killer. In fact, let me have a look at the gap to leader between him and BenJS. It's 19.7 seconds. So of course, with BenJS towards the end of the race, he's going to be on very dead hard tyres, considering he's had a spun on these tyres. He is spun on these tyres. Killer will go onto a fresh set of the medium compound of tyre. I just lost my words there. Yeah, Killer will go onto a fresh set of medium compound of tyre, which then he will have a massive pace advantage. Come towards the end of the race, we could see Killer get a move done on BenJS. Again, we'll wait and see. But Luke pulling off the first pit stop out of these top runners on those hards. So now, are we going to see the rest of these guys make their way in? Surely, to avoid an undercut, the rest of them will be making their way in. In fact, where Luke has come out, it's about 3.1 seconds behind Miami, interestingly enough. So, yeah, BenJS is definitely in for a very difficult time. Killer in. Krico and Larkin both stay out. Larkin, understandably, Larkin has a spin out of the penultimate corner, running very nicely in third position, running behind Krico. Now dropping out of, dropping out of contention of at least a podium position. Larkin out of the second to last corner having that spin, that scream, going to try and go for a move down the inside on the McLaren into turn number 1. They're both going to hold it side by side, and I think that's just, he's going to be able to keep that position. That scream trying to go for a bit of a switch back out of turn number 2, and they're both still going to be side by side of each other, but that scream has to give that one up. Good racing between the pair of them. Larkin retains that P6 and sticking onto the back of Rex as well. If he can do that to keep the DRS, then at least it'll give him a little bit of breathing room to be able to hold that scream behind him, and it's looking like he will just about get a DRS onto the back of the Haas. So yeah, that scream now needs to try and use that ERS to try and get go for a move on the McLaren, and he's doing just that. Look at the straight line speed in comparison to the McLaren. Goes down the inside in towards the chicane. Going to try and break a bit later in comparison to the McLaren. They're both going to give each other the room that they need. That scream again, just unfortunately not able to keep that position, and also has a half spin coming out of the chicane as well. So that scream now definitely not going to get that move done on the McLaren, and has to stay in 7th position, and it's going to allow RJ to try and go for a move on that scream very, very soon as well. But Killer has come out, and has come out up in front of Luke, only by though 0.2 of a second, and Miami and more games all battling, which is going to allow Killer and Luke to then start dropping behind. Luke gets the move done on Killer, so he's now in a net podium position. They're still side by side, and Killer, unfortunately, I don't think gave Luke enough room on the inside there, and Luke goes around in the end as well. Killer gets the move done on more games. There's also another position change as well. I think Marcio made a mistake out of the long left-hander as well after the long right-hander, so Marcio now dropping down in 11th position. A lot of pit stops now being made. RJ, AJ Wuhan, Rex, RJW and Creco are all in. I'm surprised Rex is in. I thought he would have gone for a set of the soft tyres, but he's going back onto a set of the hard compounder tyre for the end of the race. So Rex really now at a disadvantage, especially with everyone around him on a set of the medium compounder tyre. Meanwhile, look at where they've all come out in relation to Killer and to Luke. In fact, Luke has still come out ahead of a few of the other medium runners, despite having despite being spun around by Killer. Might be again another steers report after the race, but again we shall await and see with that one. But at the moment, Slash now in the lead, and Dari 1 second behind him.
Now looking at Luke for the time being, as he is trying to make a move on AJ Wuhan, who still has fairly cold tires, as they've been just getting past Marcio up the roads a little bit as well. I don't think Luke is able to get through. No ERS really to be used. He's sending it down the inside of the chicane. Not quite. That's a back out, and he yields a little bit there. Maybe on the exit though, down towards turn number 10 and 11. He has no ERS, so he's just going to burn all that he does have, but I don't think he is going to get through. Creek is getting through more games up ahead. That should be a fairly easy move. Let's see if AJ Wuhan will be looking for a move fairly soon as well. Yes, he does. As more games goes quite wide. AJ Wuhan is down the inside of the Haas. Slashes in the pits. AJ Wuhan is through. Luke is now looking on the back of him as well. Down the inside of turn 12. Late lunge, but fairly good move. A little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact, but nothing too bad. And Luke goes into P number 12. Follows through Creeko and AJ Wuhan as Slash and the Scream and also Miami are now into the pits.
That was a nice little move. Didn't look too bad whatsoever, so yeah, that was a very nice move indeed from Luke. He needed to get that done. He needed to try and stick on the back of AJ Wuhan and Creeko, of course, as well, of having any good shot of trying to still fight for that podium position. Slash, by the way, coming out in front of Luke. So Luke, after having that contact with Killer, he's now behind Slash, as well as Larkin 5 seconds down the road from this battle that's all going on as well, after having his spin out of the penultimate corner as well. In fact, Luke and Slash both going at it side by side. Slash, of course, being on cold tyres, is now going to drop Luke out of DRS from those other guys. Slash will get the DRS on Luke, so I wonder, are we going to see Slash attempt to go for a move on Luke? They've both got their red lights flashing on the back of their car, but however, Slash, with the advantage of DRS, is going to try and go for a move in towards the chicane. Luke goes defensive on the inside of it. Luke breaks a lot later as well in comparison to the Alpine, and we're going to see them both going side by side once again. I think Slash is going to try and use his ERS a bit more. Wants to go for this move on Luke. Wants to try and get this one done. Otherwise, they're just going to lose too much time with them battling constantly. Luke's going to hold the inside line to then Slash try and switch back once again. Coming through turn number 11 now, through turn number 12 now, shall I say. Still both side by side of each other. Slash is going to hold the inside through that right-hander. Now through the left-hander. Luke's going to have the inside through that left-hander. And Luke maintains that position only just. What battling going on between the pair of them. Slash's tires are definitely now heated up. And we're probably going to see a move go down towards turn number 1. A bit of contact, though, behind, from Slash onto the back of Luke. And there's a spinner. That is Killer. Killer has spun out of the final corner as well. So Killer's now dropping out of that contention for a podium. Creeko, out of nowhere, is now in contention with like picking up a podium.
Yeah, he must have just dropped it out of the final corner and just lost quite a bit of track position as well. He's behind Slash. And the contact between Luke and Slash was very weird. Just kind of seems to move towards each other in a weird way. But yeah, I hope Slash hasn't got any damage from that. And the same goes for Luke, obviously, in the rear end. But I see. And meanwhile, at the front, we see Darry 9 seconds ahead of Bunty, who's the only one who hasn't pitted yet at all. So I have to see if when he goes, but he might be just goal hanging for a safety car a little bit there, and hoping he can get through later on. And obviously this helps Evans and BenJS, who are in a net P2 and 3. There's still 4 seconds from BenJS to Creeko, who's the first medium runner, as the screen picks up a time penalty. It won't be easy for Creeko to make that work. I think he'll get up to them, but beyond that, beyond him and maybe AJ Wuhan, it will be very difficult for the medium runners to actually get up to these two and pass them. So this is definitely a good result for both Evans and BenJS on here.
Yeah, it certainly is. And as you were saying, Bunty was trying to hold out for a safety car. Well, unfortunately, that didn't work for him. He's in the pits. So Bunty now pitting from second position. Will probably come down in towards where Rex and RJ are in 13th, 14th respectively. But yeah, I think from what I'm looking at, I think AJ Wuhan might have more of a chance than Creeko of being able to get a podium position. He's got more ERS, and in fact he's using that ERS to go for the move in towards turn number 1. Down the inside he goes in that Ferrari, and nicely done from AJ Wuhan on his return to the League of Europe. He's now back up into 5th position and is now going to be the one trying to chase down the rest of those hard runners to get himself on the podium. Marcio has a penalty, so he's got about 3.8 seconds, maybe 4 seconds we'll call it, behind BenJS to try and pick himself up a podium for this week. And we'll wait and see if he can get it done. Not in the DRS of Marcio up in front, but Creeko really is struggling to keep up with AJ Wuhan. AJ has just gotten so much more pace in comparison to those up in front of him, and you can just see that, especially on a straight. Luke gets the move done on Slash as well, so Luke now back up in front of Slash, as well as Killer also trying to go for a move on Slash as well. And in fact using his ERS to go for the move up in towards turn number 11, gets the move done, and that's nicely done from Killer to get himself back up into 8th position. Now got Luke in front of him, his other championship rival. See if he can try and go for a move very, very soon. All running in a single file line at the moment. Hopefully won't be too forceful, but we shall wait and see what goes on between the pair of them with that. Like I say, AJ Wuhan now onto the back of Marcio, so we may see a move go down towards turn 1 like he did on Creeko. I think AJ Wuhan, I think that's probably his preferred overtaking spot from what I've seen so far in the sprint and in this feature race. I think we're going to definitely see that going in towards turn 1. Marcio's going to try and go defensive in towards turn 1. AJ Wuhan will have to go around the long way, but I think already clears Marcio before turn number 1, so gets that move done. Very nice from AJ Wuhan. 2.8 seconds with 7 laps to go. Are we going to see AJ Wuhan on the podium on his return to Eloia?
I think there's a very good chance of it. He does seem to have the pace over everyone else as of right now, and it looks very likely like he may be able to catch up to Evans and BenJS, whose tyres will obviously not be in great condition either towards the end of the race, as they've been on them since about lap 4 or 5 whenever the safety car came out. And meanwhile behind, we're looking at Killer as well, who's trying to get through on Luke down towards turn 8, down the inside. Shouldn't cost any ears as Creeko gets past Marcio as well. The Killer gets through on Luke, and Slash is just in behind as well, maybe trying to go for an overtake. Deploy some sort of ERS, but it won't be very easy as all 3 of them basically have nothing to work with, and the slipstream is quite high here, so they're all bunching up a little bit down towards turn number 11. Let's see, Slash is looking around the outside, but I think he's just trying to take another line and not really trying to go for an overtake, and just has to stick in behind in 9th place for now. See if these guys can work together and maybe get their way back up to, say, Creeko or in the first place Marcio, obviously, on the older tyres.
At the very least, needs to try and get past Creeko, I think, if they can. They're, as I said, 2 seconds behind the Mercedes driver. Interestingly enough, AJ Wuhan broke 2.3 seconds up ahead of Creeko, so I don't know if Creeko's made a mistake of some kind, but I don't think that was the gap beforehand, unless he just got caught behind Marcio the entire time. Just dropped him out massively from AJ Wuhan. But AJ Wuhan now only has 1.4 seconds left behind Ben JS. And again, with 6 laps left now to go, Bunty picks up the fastest lap of the race so far. In 14th position as Luke picks himself up a 3-second time penalty. He's now going to drop back behind Slash and behind Larkin. Of course, that Scream has a penalty, so he won't drop back behind him. And I don't think RJ is going to be close enough either. So Luke is now at more of a disadvantage than anybody else around him, and he needs to try and get something done if he wants to try and at least only get jumped by Slash and not by Larkin.
Well, he has 8 seconds now, so he's going to drop almost out of the points, I think. Yeah, he's going to be around Brex and Bunty there, who are going side by side. I think Bunty's completed the move then in towards turn 8. Not much of a contest there. I think Killer's now looking onto the back of Marcio, and he will want to get through as Marcio doesn't seem to be having the greatest pace as of right now. Down the inside of turn 11 potentially, but there's no real room there for an overtake. It's just trying to find a spot where you can go through, and turn 12 is not very easy to do it either. You're just going to get held up further and further, and allows Kriko and AJ Wuhan as well to get back and just gain time on them. And Killer down the inside of the last corner, not quite either. He's going to have to wait for turn number 1, and Luke will want to get through as well. Let's see, Killer, can he get through on the Red Bull? As Marcio is defending, obviously, with still very old tires. But let's see, can Killer get himself down the inside of Marcio? Yes, he can. Marcio has to slot in behind as Brent picks up a penalty in behind as well and gets into the pits actually now. So he's going to maybe try for fastest lap. Bunty improves his own thing is there as Luke gets on for a move on Marcio as well. Then he is at turn 3. Still side by side sort of there as Marcio went off track a slight bit, but Luke is through into P7 on track. And it's just going to allow Slash to go through very soon as well. And we have to look at AJ1 and Ben JS as well very soon. I think Slash is going to get this move done quite easily. It shouldn't be too much of a contest. Let's see if AJ1 can get a move done on the Williams here, as he has the far superior tires, more ERS to use with, and now he's going to go down the inside. Not quite, he's still going to have to hold back, maybe down towards turn 11. He lifts off a little bit through that turn 10 actually, so let's see, can he get through? Not quite, still has to hold him behind. Maybe down the inside of turn 12 then, he picks a different line down the inside now. Can he make that one stick? It doesn't look like he can, and Ben just has to yield, and AJ1 has into podium position, and he just has second place up there as well, right in front of him.
Yeah, he can get the move done on Evans as well, then that would be second position for AJ on his return, barring of course he doesn't get a spin or anything, as he has a massive oversteer moment out of the final corner. Uses a bit of his ERS. Evans is trying to defend on this one though as well. He's using his ERS, but here we go. AJ down the inside in towards turn number 1. Gets that move done, I believe. Evans does back off of that one. Very nicely done from AJ Wuhan. Now up into second position. 16 seconds separate him and Dari. I don't think he's going to be able to catch up to Dari unless Dari picks up a puncture on the final lap, but I don't think he will. I think he'll be able to take those tyres to the end of this race. I was on board with Slash and Marcio because Slash didn't actually get the move done on Marcio in the end. He's now dropped back and is now into the clutches of Larkin. So Larkin's now on the back of this little train as well. He's now 2 seconds behind the Red Bull and almost out of contention from Luke. Not from Luke, sorry, because Luke has 8 seconds of penalties, doesn't he? So he's not going to be able to still be up ahead of him anyway. But here we go. They're going 3 wide now, out in towards the chicane. Larkin getting a double move done on the exit of the chicane. Marcio has gone off in the background. May have had a little bit of contact with Slash, but give yourself a round of applause for that one, Larkin. Getting the move, getting a double overtake done, especially towards the end of the end of the DRS straight, and very nicely done from the McLaren, to say the least. 2.5 seconds now separates him and Luke. He needs to try and claw that up because Slash is looking very quick. Just wasn't quick enough to get the move done on Marcio on that occasion, though. Yeah,
Marcio has just been proven to be a bit of a bottleneck, as I say that. It's been fun round, so he has fun round himself out of turn 12. Yeah, he's broken up the field here and there. And now looking at Ben JS, who is in contention for a podium still here, right behind Evans, and I think it will go down to these two, but maybe also potentially Kriko and Killer are not too far off as well. So this last podium position could still go down to the end of the race with just under 4 laps to go.
Certainly can. So let's have a look. We'll keep an eye out on this one, or we'll keep on board with this one, sorry. Ben 4/10 of a second behind Evans. As I said, coming on towards the DRS straight. Are we going to see the Williams get a move done on the Aston Martin. Creco also catching up to the back of these two as well, so it could very soon turn into a three-way fight, and Killer also, as well as Luke, getting closer to join the fray of this battle as well. So towards the end of this race, we might even see a 5-car battle for this podium position. At the moment, Evans is the one that's occupying that spot, but Ben is looking just a little bit quicker than Evans, so we'll wait and see if Ben is going to be able to get any sort of move done. Meanwhile, a little bit further on behind, Slash and Scream now very close with each other. Scream trying to go for a move on the Alpine. A little bit of contact between the pair of them. Slash, Scream just going in the back of him, and that's RJ slamming in the side of him as well. I think RJ was trying to go for a avoiding procedure and ended up smacking into him. Well. Ben's gone around as well, so that's all kicked off on lap number 24.
Evans has a puncture.
And
Evans has a puncture, and would that be why Ben JS was round? But I'm thinking they were close. Evans was ahead. Would have been that Ben JS may have just been called out in the puncture of Evans. I wasn't really expecting it. I'm not too sure what happened there, but yeah, it does prove that Darius' win as of right now isn't completely safe, and he has to nurture those sides home to make this one stick. Otherwise, this goes to AJ Wuhan. As to see, as a few cars are still in the pits in the promos, the lights of Larkin, Slash, and also Bunty up into P9. So a few guys are benefiting off this quite a bit. I'll have to see if anything happened, but let's see if Darius actually make it to the ending, because if Evans can puncture on lap number 25, basically 24 even, it could be quite a stretch for the Red Bull here.
Yeah, it could be quite detrimental to Dari. He may not end up actually finishing on the top step of this race. We'll wait and see. As I said, if Evans picked up that puncture, then it's definitely certain that, or well, it's definitely likely that Dari could pick one up as well. 2 more laps left to go, and you can see Dari is avoiding every single curb possible so he can try and avoid that puncture as well. The German just trying to do everything he can to make sure he doesn't pick himself up a puncture. 13 seconds separate him and AJ Wuhan. 2 more laps now left to go of this race, and AJ is catching him at a rate of knots now. So we'll see if AJ is going to be able to actually take a win on his return to the League of Europe. Creco somehow is now onto this podium. However, Killer is close to the back of the German, so we may see a battle go down, all for the championship contenders. Excuse me, for this final point, for this final podium position. At the moment, though, Creco is the one with the advantage of it. And in fact, we'll stick on board with this battle here because we have, of course, only got 2 more laps left to go. Killer is really trying to claw that DRS onto the back of the Mercedes, and I think he's just about clawed it. Yeah, so yeah, he has gotten that DRS onto the back of Creco. He's going to use the remaining DRS that he's got to try and close that gap to the back of Creco so he can at least have an attempt on that final lap. He tried it once on Dari in the sprint and it didn't work for him. He's now got to try and do it again at the end of the feature race, as Bunty gets the move done on Ben JS as well. I wonder if Ben JS is going to be very close to picking up a puncture as well. 21 laps on these hard tyres. Him and Dari are definitely, or those tyres are definitely screaming. Bunty now up into 8th. I think this might be his highest finishing position so far this season for Bunty.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think he's got pointed after. He got it, but then got it removed from the stewards, I think. So he's still looking for 4 points, and this would be 5 added to his tally. So I think he'll be very happy where he's running at. Actually, he's still in penalty range within of Luke, so it might even be P7 for him. I have to see about that, but we're now going on to the final lap. Dari is just going to hold on for 1 more lap. He doesn't have to take any sort of risks whatsoever. He's 12 seconds in the lead ahead of AJ Wuhan. Just has to nurse his tyres home, but that's easier said than done. I'll have to see if he can do that, and if he starts dropping time quite easily, quite soon, then we'll have to cut on to that. But I think the main story is currently Creco versus Killer for P3, and Larkin and Slash are in battle as well for P5 netly seen. But I think Creco has the gap on Killer, as Evans said, to pass the lap of the race. I have to see, can Killer maybe try and get a move done down towards this chicane, but I don't think he's close enough here. He might have to do it down towards 10 and 11, the long back straight uphill, and maybe try and get a bit of slipstream. The chicane needs to be good for the McLaren. Let's see if he can get it. I don't think he's going to be close enough, and I think he'll have to stick in behind, but he's definitely going to give it a go, I reckon.
He certainly can give that a go. I don't think he is going to be close enough. We may have to cut to that towards the end of this race, but Dari has managed to hold on to it in the end. Even if he gets a puncture now, I'm still pretty sure that he will win this race. Dari made that strategy call when that safety car came out. He won in the sprint race. He's going to take the win in the feature race. Dari will pick up his win in France for round number 8 and throws himself into this championship contention with the rest of those guys of Creeko Killer and Luke 05 HD as well. There's been a spinner at the back. That is more games down in 16th position, but Creeko ended up staying up ahead of Killer. AJ Wuhan on his return ends up finishing in second. Very well done to him indeed. Creeko, as I said, finishes third. Killer in fourth. Larkin in the end finishes fifth. A good day for both of the McLarens in fourth and fifth. Slash in sixth. Bunty finally picking himself up a set of points despite having an early spin in that race as well. He winds himself up in seventh position. Luke, in the end finishes in eighth with his penalties. Ben JS, after his spin and I think trying to avoid Evans, ends up finishing in ninth. Those tyres must have been screaming for him as Rex ends up finishing in 10th. Evans in the end picked up the fastest lap point and finished in 11th, so he'll at least gain himself 3 points. And Miami picks up the final point position down in 12th position. That Scream ended up finishing 13th and RJ in 14th after that Scream having that spin. I think touching on at the back of one of those cars. I think it was a Slash, and then RJ going straight into the side of him as well. So unfortunate for the both of them. Where they're on for solid points, it hasn't worked out for them. In-game driver of the day, voted as Bunty. And I've got to say, I might even actually be entitled to say that he could be one of our drivers of the day as well for the vote that we normally have on the Twitter polls.
Yeah, he might be up there. He's kept it clean and done himself into P7, so... Or P8 actually in the end. No, never mind. That's the results for the weekend, which obviously don't count to our tally. The Dari up ahead of AJ Wuhan, Creeko, and then Killer, Larkin, Slash, and then Bunty in P7 from 18 from the grid. Luke in 8th, he'll be taking a bit of a blow to the championship, but obviously completely out of it. Ben JS, Rex running up to top 10. Evans getting the fast lap, and obviously 11th as well, and then Miami in P12 running up the points paying positions with the Scream. RJ, Marcio, Brent, Morgan falling out of that, and then Rents and Recify retiring from this race.
Yeah, no, exactly. So, that is the results for both the feature and the sprint race. Dari taking the win on the both of them. AJ Wuhan, I will also definitely say, is a contender for driver of the day. What a drive that was from him in that feature race. Was ridiculous, and managed to end up picking up that second position. So very well done to him indeed, and hopefully we can get some interviews going very, very shortly. But yeah, I mean, as I said, Dari, what a race that was from him. I'm sure he was probably bored towards the end of that, but also was on a bit of Cove Brown, I've got to say, especially 23 odd laps on those hard compound tyre. He was definitely struggling, to say the least. As well as Creeko, unfortunately for him, fortunately for him, should I say, stays up ahead of Killer. However, Killer, I think, will stay in the championship lead. I'll have to get confirmation of that very, very soon. But we have been joined by our second place finisher for podium interviews, so we'll go ahead and just get straight on with that one. Mr. AJ Wuhan, on your return to League of Europe, you ended up finishing in second. How have you done that then?
Honestly, I have no clue. But I'm just kind of happy that they waited for me at the start, to be honest. I was joining a bit late, but yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate Larkin as well for letting me come back in, and congrats to Dari as well for winning.
In the sprint race, what happened to you? Because I know you was you was trying to battle for, I think it was like fifth or fourth position. What happened to you in the sprint that ended up you having to start in 11th position?
Yeah, just kind of lost the rear in one of the corners. I can't remember exactly which one now, but I think it was the chicane in the middle of the straight. Just kind of lost the rear and lost a lot of momentum. So the rest of it just about keeping position, really.
And it looks like you did that indeed, especially in that feature race, managing to get yourself up in the second position. Talk us through that last part in that, or that part of the race though, where obviously the safety car had come out. I think you started on a set of the hards as well. Was you thinking that a podium wasn't going to be in reach after that safety car had come out, and after you'd seen that Ben and Darry had both pit, or did you still think that there was something in the back of your mind that you could still get onto that podium?
I mean, I was happy with my pace in the first stint. I didn't think sort of second step would be doable, but I thought, maybe fourth or fifth would be a realistic target, let's say. I think as time went on, I sort of really got in with the mediums because I really enjoyed that stint in the sprint race, and that really helped. And especially getting ahead of Creco at that time really helped. And taking Slash in the overtaking him through the pit strategy really helped too, because they were they were really good pace, and I think it's really easy to get caught in a train here and just kind of get stuck. So yeah. Really happy.
No, that's good. That's good. As I said, you did very well for today as well. It's nice to see you, of course, back on top. Of course, next week, for round number 9, we are over at Australia. Is that a track that you're hoping to try and get yourself on the top step for next week?
I mean, if I can race, we'll see, because it depends on whether I can get a seat for the next week. And if so, then it's another one of my really good tracks. I suppose I'll be looking for it, because you never know what can happen. Incidents can happen at any point. Random safety cars, it can ruin the strategy. So I suppose if all luck goes well, it could be another podium.
Yeah, no, that is for certain as well. Any questions for our second place finisher for tonight?
Well, congratulations for second place on your return to LOE. I want to know that you pretty much only went for overtakes then instead of turn 1. Was that just planned that way? So obviously, usually you go for overtakes, like it's usually then into the chicane at the end of the missile straight, but I just saw you going for turn 1, so I wanted to ask about that.
I'm pretty sure I made some overtakes some other places too, especially in the sprint. I think it's that long right-hander after the straight. I've made a few overtakes there, I think, and I think a couple in sector 3. So I felt like I had a bit of variety, but I suppose it was not caught on stream, but that's perfectly fine. Like, you guys are doing a great job. Really busy all the time, so yeah. No, yeah, it wasn't planned. It was just more a case of being patient and not trying to force anything that wasn't necessary. And if the opportunity opened itself up, then I sort of went for it.
Fair enough, and I think you did a great job of that, so well done.
Yeah, thank you.
Certainly was. So, once again, congratulations, AJ, for taking second position again on your return to the League of Europe. And as I said, hopefully we do see you back on here very, very soon. It doesn't look as if we're going to get our other 2 podium finishers on the into the party for this evening. So, I believe that is where we will end it for tonight. Any closing thoughts for both the sprint race and the feature race for France tonight?
A lot of chaos, but good chaos. So it was enjoyable to commentate over, definitely. And just maybe some drivers learn a little bit of patience. Might be useful. I think you see someone like AJ Vahan tonight as well, just done that perfectly, and you see where it gets you. So it might be something to work on. There's definitely some drivers that have the pace of him and just haven't been able to get to that level. So I'd say learn from it and come back better next week.
Exactly. Patience pays off. So that's something that we can take away for this week. But thank you to everybody that has tuned in for tonight. Make sure you guys do check out Australia for next week at 6:30 p.m. British Standard Time for Divisions 1 and Division 3. Division 1 covered by James Head and QVR Killer, and Division 3 covered by Jess Gamer 95 and Evil Dragon. Then Division 2 and Division 4 at 8:10 p.m. British Standard Time. Division 2 covered by myself and QVR Verstappen, as always, and Division 4 covered by QVR Packer and QVR Maverick as well. As I said, thank you to everybody that has tuned in for tonight, and we'll catch you guys next week for round